To Ukraine now, and the war between Russia and Ukraine continues, and there's a renewed campaign by Ukrainian officials to bolster their military hardware, in particular air support, with a request for the United States to provide high-powered F-16 fighter jets. These machines would give Ukraine the upper hand in the skies in combat and in terms of securing the airspace above major cities. So far, the requests have been rejected.
You don't think he needs F-16s now?
No, he doesn't need F-16s now.
Is that a never?
The idea that we know exactly what's going to be needed a year, 2, 3 from now, but there is no basis upon which there is a rationale, according to our military now, to provide F-16s.
But you're not ruling it out?
I am ruling it out for now.
A short time ago, I spoke with Yuriy. He's a close advisor to Ukraine's defence minister.
In the last 13 months, we have seen it time and again that those things that were made or announced as impossible, then they sooner or later become possible. This was the case first with the heavy artillery, with the howitzers, M777s, for example. Then that was the case with the multi-launch rocket systems, the HIMARSs, right? That were a game changer on the battlefield because they've allowed Ukrainian army to target ammunition depots and logistical supply lines of the Russian aggressor deeper into the temporarily occupied territory. Then there was a very similar debate with respect to the Patriot air defense systems, and that barrier fell down as well. So we understand that sooner or later Ukraine will be getting the fourth generation aircraft, and F-16s are the most versatile aircraft platform which is most suited for the Ukrainian military needs. So this is why we are continuing to discuss it with our partners. You know, F-16s is available in a large number of countries around the world. So
what's the concern out of the United States? Is there a worry that this might escalate things further, or what's their issue with it?
Well, I think by now we have all seen that there's the concern for the escalatory provision of military supplies also has not worked in the past, because, you know, the Russian aggressor has said in the past that if Ukraine starts receiving, you know, every type of modern weaponry, then it will result in some escalation, but that didn't happen. So we need F-16s and we need fourth generation aircraft to improve our air defense capabilities, because at the moment Russians are using, for example, the hovering bombs, which they can launch from up to 50 kilometers without actually entering the Ukrainian airspace. Now that means that we are not able to deal with them, but if we have the F-16s, for example, it will be more for us to protect our skies.
What's the latest from the conflict? Are you confident it can be won this year?
We are confident, and this is what we have been saying for a long time now. This should not be allowed to become a protracted war. We have proven time and again that the Ukrainian army is capable of defeating the enemy on the battlefield. The only kind of missing piece of the jigsaw puzzle is the sufficient amount of Western weaponry supplies. But yes, indeed, it's a war that we will win, and we will bring to account all the war criminals who have been committing war crimes on our territory.
The Australian support has been important with the Bushmasters and other support that's been forthcoming to Ukraine. What more do you need from Australia?
Well, first of all, I would like to say thank you to the Australian people and the Australian government for standing with Ukraine in these difficult times and for providing Ukraine with the military support. The Bushmasters, which you have mentioned, they have been instrumental, for example, during the Kharkiv counteroffensive, and we are thankful for those. Now, when it comes to the military support by Australia to Ukraine, we hope that it is in the future sustainable, continuous and uninterrupted. We hope that we can receive more Bushmasters. We hope that we can receive other types of modern weaponry, such as the 4x4 armored vehicles, Hawkeyes. They could be instrumental as well during our counteroffensive. And of course, you know, we would benefit if Australia could give Ukraine tanks as well, because, you know, tanks will be instrumental for the counteroffensive, for breaking through the defense lines of the enemy. economy. So if Australia can join the so-called tank coalition, that would be great as well.
We have unanimous support in Australia for Ukraine in the Parliament and among our leadership. That's not the case in the United States, with the Republicans and splintering over support for Ukraine. Is that a concern to you?
Well, with all due respect, but I would say that Ukraine still has a bipartisan support. There are discussions, there are divisions, certain arguments within the Republican Party, but first of all, we would never allow ourselves to interfere in the domestic policy of our ally. So that's number one, because we respect the sovereignty of every country who supports us. But the will of the Ukrainians and our determination to win is unshaken, and we will achieve victory.
Advisor to the Ukrainian Defence Minister, Yuriy, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.